I need to move on now. Let's talk about the actual Katowice that's happening. So the playoffs are set. The teams through to the semi-finals of Vitality and Na'Vi. The quarterfinal games are the Mongols Eternal Fire, which is a gigabanger, and Virtus Pro Spirit, which I shan't be watching.
No, you should watch that. Although, actually, Virtus Pro don't have Flammers, which is really ruins it.
Well, yeah, that, but also that's like 13-3, 13-3, mate.
No. If I'm telling you, VP could muddy that game, right? That is all.
They don't have Jame anymore, Elliot.
Yeah, no, exactly. They don't have Jame anymore. It would just be a deathmatch. It's 10 Russian-speaking players in the server, and Dust 2 is definitely getting played. If they had Flammers, that game would just be it would just be highlight after highlight. There would be nothing else going on.
I'm still not watching it.
I'm not now because Flammers isn't playing, but
it's going to be awful. But yeah, so they're the teams through. I would expect that we get Vitality versus Na'Vi or Spirit in the final.
I think there's a chance Mongols versus Na'Vi or Spirit. I think Mongols are scary. If 9-10 like plugs his mouse in, they're gonna batter some team. Like he was dog shit in groups. Like he was missing shots that you can't miss. He was just missing sitters.
Here's what I was going to say, right? That you'd expect Vitality make the final. They have a pretty shitty record against Eternal Fire. And the Mongols, who knows?
Mongols are good, man.
Because the thing is, right, so we were all talking about, like, during the major when they had Mouse, it's like, it's inexperience versus inexperience, but obviously the one side's actually experienced, and people like to pretend that they're not. Eternal Fire are less experienced by a long way. And I have a feeling that when it clicks for the Mongols in front of a crowd, it's going to click. And they might not win the event, but I mean, like, they could go major quarterfinals to major finals, and it won't be a struggle.
At some point this year, Mongols are going to be in an arena final. I'm
confident of that.
Like, they are really scary.
So, in that sense, I actually think that side of the bracket's quite interesting. And could be very, very fun. The other side of the bracket, I think the quarterfinal will stink.
Yeah, it will now.
I don't agree with you.
If Flamus was there, it would be more interesting. Because
this
VP are talented, man.
Yeah, just still not sure they're that good.
They're not that good. I'm just saying they could make a game ugly.
Look. They beat Eternal Fire, which is impressive. Right now, I'm not going to say a team beating G2 is impressive. I'm really not. Because I think, like, the win conditions for beating G2, there are actually just so many right now. That a lot of the times, like, G2 are going to win anyway because they've got, like, 2.5, maybe 3 really strong players. And occasionally Hunter just decides he's going to play like Hunter once did.
I do think the sort of G2 talent level is... I've been a big proponent of it, but like...
I think it's overstated.
They're not as scary when it's not Nico and Malbs. Heavy God's good, but he just doesn't command the same level of respect.
No, he doesn't, and I'm also sticking by what I said a few weeks ago. Malbs ain't Nico yet.
Not yet.
He ain't Nico yet. He might
be.
be. He might be by the end of the year. He's a long way off right now. I
think the really, really loose, basically not in-game leading style of in-game leading was actually a good fit when you had Nico, Malbs, Monacy.
And I'm also willing to bet that Nico was making a lot of calls.
Probably.
Because I also remember some very key rounds in G2 games last year where you could tell by how the round played out, Nico had decided what happened in the mid-round. You could just fucking tell. There's one that really sticks out to me, and it was on Dust 2, and Nico found himself down in CT spawn on the T side. And it's like, there is absolutely no fucking way Snacks has had any input on that round. He might have said out of spawn, fine, like, we'll try do this round that we came up with, and it's a round where Nico gets, like, gets into that position or tries to get around that position. But everything that came after that, all the rotations that were based off it, that's come from Nico. There's no way that's not come from Nico.
It has to, though. If you're the lurk in that position, you have to dictate the round. You have to.
Sure. But like,
I think the super loose style works when you have Nico, Malbs, Monacy. I'm not sure it's quite as scary when it's Malbs, Heavy God, Monacy. It's just not.
Yeah.
It works when you are de facto the most talented team in the world. Whereas, man for man, are they scarier than Vitality?
No.
Probably not anymore.
No, it's not a probably. They're not.
I don't know.
No, they're not. Ridiculous.
We'll see.
I don't think they are at all.
No, not with Heavy God.
But so G2, well, I think all that was left to say of the playoffs is that Na'Vi Spirit could be really good. Kind of more depends on Na'Vi than Spirit.
Yeah, Donk's going to show up and put on a show. It's kind of like, can you live with him? And if you can, it becomes a really good game.
It's just kind of whether we get Na'Vi in the group stage of Kato or we get Na'Vi in Bounty, whatever it was. Did they play each other in Bounty? When did they play each other?
It was at the... I can't remember. Must have been.
Just Major, I don't know. It was just something where it was like, all right, Na'Vi just aren't really...
They battered them at the Major. Spirit.
Yeah, they're just not really showing them. But anyway, look, let's talk about the teams that have gone out. Falcons went out in last place. They lost 2-0 to Eternal Fire, 13-7 on Inferno, 35 on Train. It wasn't even fucking close. And then they lost 2-1 to G2.
I will say, Jean Tara's has been on a fucking mission this event. He has been on a ridiculous. He's so good. Like, losing to, like, getting bashed by Eternal Fire, it just happens sometimes. Like, Jean Tara is just ridiculous at the moment.
Yeah. Falcons, though, Look, Nico and Tesses didn't play well. Magisk played okay. Degster, I just don't.
Look, they lost to Eternal Fire in G2. I know what we just said about G2.
They're good. They're good games to lose.
Yeah, it's like you're a pretty new team. You lost to Eternal Fire, who've been a very solid team at this level for a long time, and G2 you can sort of narrowly lose to, and it's like,
yeah.
I don't want to, like, I'm not going to say, they're absolute shit, because you narrowly lost to G2 in the lower bracket. It's kind of unlucky, actually. Like,
I will say, though, if shit like this is happening in, when's Major? June or in February now? If shit like this is happening in April, get fucking Sonic gone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
get
him
like, fucking gone, because you've got to blame Sonic. You absolutely have to blame Sonic. Like,
yeah, if it's multiple different in-game leaders, multiple different calls.
Fuck all with Snappy, who did a load with Saw before that, and has done things with other IGLs further back in his career, other coaches even, further back in his career. And now he does it with Kixan, who's had Saw and Miffa. I don't think Miffa's particularly great, but that kind of benefits the point. Like, what the fuck is Sonic doing?
Yeah.
Actually, what is he doing? Because I don't think he's doing anything at this point.
I don't think Falcons are a complete write-off yet, but that's obviously not a good sign either.
No, they're not a complete write-off, and I didn't think this team... Well, maybe I did. I thought they'd be better than this.
They might be soon.
Again, they played some hard teams in this one. And, like, Eternal Fire are really good, but maybe Eternal Fire will just be Falcons' bogey team anyway. Like, who knows?
Eternal Fire are just, like, a legitimate, like...
Yeah, they're really good.
5th or 6th best team in the world. Like,
yeah.
So
who knows? It's like, it's too early really with Falcons. It's just funny that it happens.
Oh yeah. It's obviously funny.
Big and Furia also went out last place. I just
Like, you know what I was saying about Big? Like, they looked terrible against Wildcard. This is exactly what I expected. I don't know how they hammered Heroic before they did this.
I tell you what, though, the thing that really amused me about Big is that in a few interviews recently, they've talked about how JDC is like really, really good on Ancient, and they might be the best Ancient team in the world. They lost it 13-10 to FaZe.
And 13-11 to 3D Max. How do Big think they're the best Ancient team in the world? This is like... You can't be this delusional. You're obviously not the best Ancient team. You might be the best Ancient team in the world compared to how good you are at another map. But you're not the best Ancient team. That's just fucking ridiculous. You're not the best Ancient team in the world.
It's a fucking joke, that statement. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. And I was really looking forward to them then playing a team on Ancient and losing. And it happened twice.
That's just fucking meant. Like... You're not the best Ancient. You're not even close to the best Ancient team in the world.
Either way, they're out. Who gives a fuck? Furia.
The best Mirage team in the world.
10th best team in the world. Apparently, right now.
Just let's say they played Navi on Mirage and lost 13-3. Yeah, exactly.
They got spanked by Navi, and then they played Astralis in, by the way, fucking awful game. Was that on B stream?
I think that was the one I said nobody won. Somebody posted a picture of the scoreboard and said, "Who do you think won in this game?" I was like, nobody won in this game.
Yeah, that game
dreadful.
Was awful. If Liquid and Complexity was two teams like trying to see who's worse, that game was two teams like. I actually can't think of a.
I think this was the game I tweeted something about Cello. Cello had genuinely one of the worst games I've ever seen. Like he was absolutely useless.
It was
the whole series. The whole series. He was
but
useless.
You tweeted it out during Dust 2, and you tweeted it out during Inferno. He was 4-17.
Yeah, and he didn't get much better from there.
Dust 2, he went 9-13, and then Nuke, he went 17-15. He was their top fragger on Nuke.
Okay, I must have lost consciousness for Nuke. You wouldn't surprise me. And it was a dreadful game. It's actually an indictment of Astralis that they won it. I hated that game. I hated it.
I mean, the Inferno scoreboard is mental. Like, whoever edits this shit, please bring up the Inferno scoreboard. Like, I don't care we don't have graphics for it yet. Just slap it in front of one of our faces. Like, it's fucking hell. I mean, does Dust 2 need to go up as well? Yeah, whack Dust 2 up as well.
Yeah, it was a terrible game of Counter-Strike. Nobody won.
Each map was won by one player playing well.
Yeah. It's one of those games where you actually just think, don't even bother putting one of them through. Just put them both out.
Hang on. Wasn't Inferno the map that Device ended it with a really nice... Was it this series? Device ended a game on Inferno with a nice 4K on the A site.
After I watched Cello play for about 5 minutes, I was glazed over.
I can't see it in the highlights on HLTV, so maybe it wasn't this one. But if it was, right, he ended the game with a 4K. If it was this, that means that before that round he was 6-14.
Yeah,
it might not be that one. It might not be, but if it was.
I promise you nobody played well at any point in that game. It was awful.
Yeah, terrible game. That
I'm just so glad Astralis went out immediately afterwards because, they are genuinely rubbish.
Awful. They are awful. Yeah,
they're really bad. I'm a known Astralis hater. I always will be. But they are genuinely bad. They are just Game Elite PR on its own. Destroyed them. I mean, he was an academy player 2 months ago. You're letting an academy player do that to you.
He did have his way with them.
It's just he absolutely rinsed them on Mirage. What was his scoreline? 29-7 on Mirage. He had 3 teammates going negative, and they won 13-7.
Even Furia would have stopped him from doing that. Well,
I don't know.
Maybe not.
He was going to I don't want to talk about Astralis Fury. Anymore.
So the other team to go out in last place was Mouse.
Rubbish.
You get what you fucking deserve.
I mean, they didn't have Spinks, which is like the one
No,
qualifier.
they didn't have Spinks, and maybe it's a good sign for Roland that they got 13-9, 13-11 by Game of Legion. Look, I'm fucking trying, Elliot. All right, I'm trying to be positive. They were always going to go out last place. Like,
Yeah.
let's move on.
Especially playing Game of Legion and Liquid, to be fair. Neither of them are mugs.
We mentioned earlier Game of Legion might be the 8th best team in the world. They went out 7th, 8th because they had a nightmare lower final game. They played Spirit. But they won a fucking map.
Yeah.
Now they got fucking... Good. They got dumpstered on the other two maps, right? So the the second and third maps were 13-6 on Ancient and 13-4 on Nuke, which Spirit both won. But they did open the series with a 13-11 on Anubis. Now, this means one of two things. Or it could mean both, I suppose. Game Legion are actually quite good, which I think it probably does mean. The things we're noticing about Anubis might be true.
Yeah.
It might be Inferno.
Did you see the stat on Anubis? The difference in Anubis T-side win rate and the second highest Dust 2 T-side win rate is bigger than the difference between Dust 2 and the most CT-sided map. So, like, between second and seventh in the map pool is like this much, and then between Anubis and Dust 2 is like this much.
That's actually...
Yeah. It's like 59% T-side win rate. The game is not supposed to be T-sided.
Anubis might have to go before Inferno.
It needs to be changed.
I don't know how.
I haven't played enough recently to be really in tune with how. My feeling was always that mid was really obnoxious as a CT. There's not enough places to play.
It is horrible. I hate playing mid.
You get really like choke pointed if you try and play passive. Like you just get stuck. And you stand in the way of your rotating players if you play passive, and if you play aggressive, you basically just maximum go 1-for-1.
So that's the thing as well. Like mid is like, it's so different compared to other maps because it's such like a late round or like mid to late round portion of the map that like typically as well you're just gonna get fucking caught out.
Yeah,
like
you need 7 players to play CT side Anubis, and I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
You need like 4B, 2 mid, 1A. It's so hard. It's really hard.
It's it needs work that it's not going to get because of Train.
Yeah.
And I think it'll become a problem. Will it become more of a problem than Inferno?
Inferno is so miserable.
Inferno is terrible.
It's so miserable to watch. I'm not getting into that now. We're already over an hour. We need to finish Katowice and get to bed.
So the last team is FaZe. They're FaZe.
Yeah, they had a barnstormer against Eternal Fire. Chantares, again, he was not losing that game. He was just on a mission. He had like 40 odd kills by the end, I think. It was like him versus Brokey. He had 49 kills. In a 25-22 game, 47 rounds, he had 49 kills.
But the other thing, right, given what we just said about Anubis, Eternal Fire, very good Anubis team, by the way.
Probably the best.
Dumpstered FaZe on that map.
Yeah, they're incredible.
So, I know what we've said about FaZe in this episode. I think they're a while off getting to the point where they might be good. I've just got a feeling it's going to take them a little bit longer to get their bullshit trophy win.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is they lost one of the things that made them so bullshit. Like, Rops' ability to... FaZe won far too many 2vx's with like Rops Brokey or Rops plus Frozen. It's just... Rops is so good in those situations, and Elysia isn't alive in those situations. They lost a late round player and gained an early round player. In theory, they can become a better general team. I think they've probably lost a little bit of the magic, but only time will tell.
There's only one thing left to do, really, because We're going to be gone for another week now before our next episode. So, when our next episode kicks off, who will we be talking about as the winners of Katowice?
Natus Vincia. I've run the calculations. They beat Spirit in the semis, and they beat...
Did they use it all up too early, though? Because that's why I'm not going to say Na'Vi.
Na'Vi have got a lot of it. Whatever it is. Because the thing is, the teams they're going to play in the final are either Eternal Fire, the Mongols, or Vitality. I think they're just better on stage than Mongols or Eternal Fire at this stage. I think...
Yeah.
And Vitality, I think they're just a better team than. And I think it'll actually take quite a lot out of Vitality to beat either of those as well. So, I think Na'Vi.
All right. Well, I'm also going to throw in a curveball because I'm going to say Vitality.
I just don't believe in them. I don't
think
believe
this is
them.
the point. I think this is the point they'll break their cat over Voodoo.
I just don't. They're a really, really, really good team, but they just don't have that je ne sais quoi.
Isn't this already Zyru's best ever Kato finish?
It's Apex's best.
Is it Apex's best as well?
It's Apex's best. Apex has been playing since before I was born.
Not quite that long.
And when this podcast comes out, I'll be 29 tomorrow. So
46.
29.
46. Anyway, podcast is over. Next week we'll both be wrong because Spirit will have won.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Donk for your 74th.
Congratulations
MVP.
to Chopper for the MVP.
Extra doubt. I've been Sam. My Twitter is at AN1MO CS2. There's a 1 instead of an I. He's Elliot at AZS. Twitter famous. You might have heard of him.
Not anymore. I'm not famous anymore.
Sorry, Shire. Mac and James exist. They do things. Elliot might have been typing to look up Twitter. I hope not.
I think it's
fuck.
Mac MACCWYD and James H Serper. They're at. I'm pretty sure.
Well, congratulations, guys. You've actually got personalities this week. Maybe. I don't know. You could just be retweeted.
I didn't say they had personalities. I said they got Twitters.
Well. Okay. Well, I'm done. See you later.